Hey, what's up? It's your boy Ménélik Arnell. Today I'm gonna teach you how to create your workstation and how to get started in beat making. This is very important that you get the right equipment as well as the right software. I've been doing this for more than 15 years and I'm so happy to share my passion with you. I'm gonna give you some of my recommendations in order to create the best studio for your workflow. We've entered an era where everything is digital, so it's very easy to start making beats. Honestly, all you need is a computer, whether that be a MacBook or a PC, it doesn't really matter. You just have to get the right PC that has enough power so that you can start running these softwares. The softwares that I always recommend a beginner would be Fruity Loop Studio, Cubase, Logic Pro if you're on a MacBook, and of course the big dog Pro Tools. Pro Tools is very difficult because it's for advanced users, so we're not going to get in all of that. Fruity Loops is great and it's very easy to get on. I'm going to use Logic for the purpose of this course because I've been using Mac, and to be honest, since I've been on a MacBook Pro, I was able to significantly increase the quality of my beat making. Try to get yourself a MacBook Pro preferably, and this will allow you to start directly on Logic Pro. I don't really recommend GarageBand, even though it's a very good one for people who would like to try out beat making. I think Logic Pro is great to get on because you can actually finish a song from the beginning to the end on the same software. You're gonna need an audio interface. An audio interface is basically a sound card that allows you to plug in your synth, Midi controller, your microphone, or even your guitar, your speakers directly into your computer. There's the Babyface from RME, which is great. There's the M Audio, there's the Focusrite, there is also the Apollo. Those are 4 brands that you can choose from that will give you the optimal quality for audio interface. It's very important that you get an interface that is worthy of audio conversion because it takes analog music and it transforms it into digital signals that can be read from a computer. So all of them are slightly different in terms of the way they process the music and the way they process the sound. It's not specifically going to record on the timing that you want. So imagine you're making a beat and it doesn't sound exactly the same. So latency is something that they're getting better on, but it's really something you would pay attention to. High-end audio interfaces, they usually offer next to 0 latency. So you get what you pay for, right? I highly recommend the Apollo because as far as the price, this one is basically state-of-the-art equipment that's gonna give you the best quality out there. The only thing that I don't really like about the Apollo is that they still use Thunderbolt. Even though Thunderbolt is also for Mac equipments and stuff, Thunderbolt outputs aren't very popular with other types of computers. So I don't really like that, to be honest. But then again, if you're going to be using a MacBook Pro, you have nothing to worry about. You can also get yourself a Midi synth controller, which is actually an instrument that's kind of like a piano. It allows you to play the notes directly onto your computer. It's more convenient because if you're going to use a laptop, you're going to have to use the keyboard on your laptop, and it's not necessarily convenient. It's either small or not very clear in terms of the notes that you're playing. The cheapest one that I heard of so far is the iRig, which is about $60. You can get a perfect MIDI controller that's going to give you the white and black notes so that you can see exactly what you're doing and what you're playing. You know, beat making actually started from the MPC machine, so it's basically one of the classics. If you really would like to get on that one, I highly recommend you getting the MPC, and of course it will just be more fun to play with the pads and to just get a real sense of analog beat making. Hip hop has always been about sampling, so when it comes to the MPC, there's no greater machine to play with. People also use the MK3, the Native Instruments MK drum machine. This is great because it allows you to have the pads, and with Native Instruments you go into that whole universe of beat making and it gives you great quality sounds from the beginning. So you got your computer, the MIDI software, you got your drum machine, you also got some software. So now you're gonna actually need some speakers. You're gonna have to buy some passive speakers. Passive speakers are basically speakers that don't sonically enhance the music. So it really gives you the natural state of your sound. So it's easier to correct when you're working on music. Of course, those speakers come with a price, but they will definitely give you the clarity necessary to work on your own beats. You really want to make sure that you get the quality out there. So buying the right speakers is really important. The first recommendation that I would give you, of course, is the KRK. They're great, and the entry-level price allows you to get a significant quality for that price range. I highly recommend any beat maker to use those because they have good bass. And if you're gonna make hip hop, bass is very important. If you have some background in music and you want to really get to mix your beats the proper way, you can start with Yamahas. The Yamahas, they come in different levels. There's the HS5, there's the HS8, and those speakers are basically the best on the market in terms of clarity. You get what you hear. Basically, it's that. There is no lying, there is no amplifying, there is no soothing or smoothing of your sound. It's just totally natural. You listen to exactly what you want on those Yamahas and you're gonna understand that it's really about clarity. If it sounds good on the Yamahas, it probably sounds good everywhere else. I personally use a pair of Yamahas for mixing my music. You can also use Alesis. M Audio does very cheap and good speakers. There's a ton of brands that you can choose from. The next important equipment to get your hands on are headphones. You guessed it. Headphones are very important because not only can you listen to the music in depth, but you can also use it when you're outside of the studio. As far as a beat maker, you need headphones so that you can get that bounce. A lot of people listen to their music on their headphones, so it's very important that you work on your beats with headphones as well. It gives you that real quality that you're looking for, and of course it just gives you more privacy. It's very important that when you get out, you're not bothering everyone else when you're making all that music. You can mix a song and make it sound great just with headphones. Can you imagine that? As far as headphones, you always have the AKG, but there's a ton of brands as well. Last piece of equipment you're gonna get yourself for your studio is microphone. You guessed it. It's very important that you get yourself a good microphone. There's a ton of them for you to choose from, but I highly recommend the Neumann. You can get a Neumann, you can get a Sony, you can get all of these condenser microphones. A condenser microphone is basically one that's way more sensitive and it's going to pick up the slightest tones in your voice. However, a dynamic microphone, which is more for performing in live stage, is also very good to have. You can also make with beatboxing and it allows you to get that type of ruggedness when it comes to live performances. So choose one of these two types of microphone, either condenser, either dynamic microphone for your arsenal. So that's it for making your home studio. It's very important that you get all of these pieces to the puzzle, because once you got everything, basically you'll be operational and you will be able to make a song from the beginning all the way to the end. So the next part of this course is production fundamentals. I'm going to teach you how to make music, how to produce it on the software, and for the sake of this tutorial we're going to be using Logic Pro. So if you have that software, that's perfect. If you don't worry, most of the things that I'll be teaching you are quite similar in the other softwares, so you should have nothing to worry about.